I'm Ayla Grace, a woman who sees her life as a body of work. I left the music industry behind to travel around, figure out what I was really made of, and to build a business that truly inspires me. I work with women using tools that I love and have a deep relationship with to help them on their own journey of self-discovery. Whatever reason you are here, I am happy that you are. Welcome. Hello. I am a little late to this. However, some amazing things have already happened for me today so far. And the conversation that came up was, and what transpired from my morning already, is that the negative self-talk that goes on, and I'm watching it show up in my Facebook feed, and I'm watching it with the clients I help, and I'm watching it in the group that I have. The amount of self-deprecating, berating self-talk we have for ourselves is not serving us. It is holding us back. It is keeping us small. It is creating a space for us to always be comparing. Always comparing. What people don't realize, and somebody I know had requested me to talk about the ego, for me, my ego is not one that is all pomp and I'm better than you, or I'm better than somebody else, or this is why I'm better. Has always been the countersuit of it, the opposite. The negative, self-deprecating, berating act of being to keep me small, to keep me in a space where I would always settle. I was finding myself working so hard to please others. And being a people pleaser is very much part of my journey and what I get to work on, and setting boundaries to show up wholeheartedly for myself. Wholeheartedly for myself. Authentically for myself. And the reality of it is that we don't always think of our ego as keeping us small. A lot of people don't see their ego that way. And so when you allow your ego to come out and play, which I like doing, because I'm all for peeling back the layers. I'm all for learning more. I'm all for doing more. I'm all for the ability to grow and expand, to learn more about who you really are. And that's what this whole process is about, is it not? This journey in life, we come here to have this experience, and what we fail to do is call up the negative. Because we're so caught up in the self-pity, I'm a victim, I'm this, and you're not. You are not. You 100% can take ownership for your life. You can control whether you're happy or not. You just have to do the work. And I get that there is mental illness out there in the world, but for the vast majority of people, they are just stuck in the idea of people pleasing. They're stuck in the idea of wanting to do more. They're stuck in the idea of not being good enough. And what I realized today, a conversation that had been had, is that I am just like you. But I had to get to a place where no matter how much work I've done and how positive I am and how happy and confident I appear to be, there's still a part of me that needs more work. And there's always going to be peeling back the layers, because that's this journey that we're on. If you choose a spiritual path, there's always more work to be done. It's never ending. That idea of being one with the universe, which I know is a little abstract for some people and really hard to get their head around. When you think about the universe and all its beauty and glory and expansiveness and how beautiful it really is, are you able to allow yourself to really lean into that feeling? Lean into the idea that, man, that feels so good. That feels so wonderful. Or are you just doing the self-deprecating, negative, berating talk? So I invite you to drop in the comments which side you err on. Have you been in in the throes and the warmth of the expansive universe, have you also seen the side of the self-deprecating negative self-talk? Do you have an ego that is all pomp, or is your ego one that is driving to keep you small? The ego is very much like a survival skill. It is there to keep you in a space that really is shadow and not light. It's to keep you in a space of not really being in your truth. We have to be in allowance of wanting to have the experience of wanting to heal, of wanting to be better, of wanting to really look at that negative self-talk. And I watched on Facebook a woman openly admitted her struggles. I've had a couple women do it recently. If you're in a space ready to heal and become more expansive, when you get into that negative self-deprecating space, instead of stopping yourself, can you allow yourself to pause and walk through that feeling of whatever that, you've got the brain pattern of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, like whatever the thing is that you're talking about, and wherever you're doing the self-deprecating or the self-berating or the verbal abuse of self. When we're going through those thought patterns, you can pause and allow yourself to feel and acknowledge, okay, this feels shitty. This is how I'm feeling. I need to honor this feeling because it's very real. It's very real. Because we're not pushing anything away. When you push it away, you're just avoiding. You're just bypassing till it comes up again. And so when you notice that you've probably noticed you've been doing it and it's like the same shit just keeps coming up and the universe keeps presenting us the same issues, it's because you're not walking through the actual process of it. And if you allow yourself to say, okay, ego, I know you're keeping me small. I know you're doing the thing. I know, like, bless your heart, you're doing what you can to keep me safe. But it's not serving me, and I'm choosing differently. I'm choosing to honor this feeling. I have this deprecating thought. Okay, and I'm not talking about wallowing in self-pity. There is a difference. Like, when you're working through something, and when you're just wallowing. It's a very clear, defined feeling, and it's very deliberate because you are present in the emotion. You are absolutely 100% present in that emotion of shit. I'm feeling this way. It's shitty. I honor that this is feeling this way. I don't want to feel this way anymore. I want to release this feeling, this self-deprecating thought, and I want to move on with my fucking life already. And you can feel through it and allow yourself to cry and allow yourself to experience the emotion. Allow yourself to experience the emotion. Walk through that emotion. It's just about how we use positivity so much to push down or spiritually bypass the real experience. And if we're talking about the real experience, it's about honoring the feelings, knowing that they're real, and knowing that we want to choose differently. Not wallowing and being in self-pity in them, right? And it takes practice and it takes mindfulness, and it's not going to be perfect the first time around, but the more you do the work, the easier it becomes. And I'm finding it for myself to become a lot easier as well. Because I'm in a space where I'm here to deliberately do the work. Because for me, there are qualities and traits that I want to portray and embody and have. And I want to have a love that is beyond my wildest dreams with a partner that I am so incredibly in love with. But I have to become incredibly in love with myself first. And that means learning how to unconditionally love myself, knowing when my ego is not serving me, knowing when my ego is causing me harm than good. And when you unconditionally love, it is loving that person no matter what, regardless of our expectation and judgment on what they are doing, because what we perceive to be right or wrong is none of our business. And it's hard for people to own that and know that and embrace and be in that. It is very hard. It is very hard for people. Go a day without judging. Go a day without placing expectations on things. Can you allow yourself to not judge for a day? Can you allow yourself to unconditionally love that person no matter what, whether you think they're right or wrong? Because at the end of the day, when we're talking about the universe and energy and having this experience and not being self-deprecating, it's like we have to look at the contrast. So if this is the dark, the shadow, the negative, the self-deprecating, the abuse that we put on ourselves, when we stay in relationships that do not serve us, when we listen to people who talk down to us and we continue the negative self-talk, we've attracted that relationship based on how we treat ourselves. It's reality. Versus the light, which is I'm going to unconditionally love this person and these people exactly as they are because they are hurting far more than I am. I am going to be the light. I am going to have reverence. I am going to have peace. I am going to have confidence. I am going to show up and be different. I am going to treat myself different. I am going to speak to myself more differently. I am going to be more in tune with the universe and less in tune with my ego. Because for me, my ego, and for a lot of people, is in the dark, is in the shadow. And it's very much, what are you going to feed? What are you going to feed? Do you want to feed the positivity? Do you want to feed the unconditional love? Do you want to feed that divine human being that's inside of you? That beautiful man or woman, child, adult, whatever, that is inside of you that's just aching to be heard, that's aching to feel whole. It's simple. It's unconditional love. Loving no matter what. Honoring when you're in your shadow or your dark or that negative self-deprecating place. Don't abuse yourself. Don't be a victim. Don't be in self-pity. And see if you can find the balance. Where is that balance for you? What does that balance look like? What does your victim space look like? Right? How can you be in with the universe, one with the universe? So how can I love myself wholly and how can I love them wholly? It's to step back and love them from afar, especially if it's not bringing positivity into my life. If it's not bringing positivity into your life, why are you going to sit there and be in the shit of it? Why? It doesn't make any sense. And that goes into the negative, self-deprecating, demoralization, selfishness, self-pity, victimization. It's the dark or the shadow, as they call it. How can you allow yourself to be in a space that adds immense value to you and those around you? How can you be the example? Every leader you look up to, they are leading by example. They are not standing on a soapbox putting people down. They are honoring those people where they're at and leading from where they are at. When you get uncomfortable, honor yourself and that feeling of this is awkward. I need to reflect. I need to go back to what's my truth? What am I deserving of? How do I need to support myself? And it's not selfish to pause. I remember I was in a roommate situation, and when I decided to tell the girl that I was going to move out, it imploded. It did not go well. And this was before I was doing the deeper work, because it was when I was still in Los Angeles. This was like over a year ago now. I said, I'm going to step out. I got on the phone. I called someone in recovery. I called a friend. And I just walked to find my truth and what was in alignment for me. And what was in alignment for me is I got involved in that situation when it wasn't in alignment for me. And I ignored that feeling. And so, of course, this was the universe's way of saying, like, this is not for you, Ayla. And it was very messy and ugly and, like, not on my part because I was unaffected by it either way, which only irritated that person more because I was at peace with who I was in my situation and honoring me. And their reaction was messy. So how can you honor that person for where they are at? Love them unconditionally. You may have to block them on social media or take a step back, and that's fine because you have to set up a boundary. But how can you love them and find gratitude for them from afar? For that lesson, because everything's a lesson for a deeper experience and a new journey and a new thought and a new, it's the never-ending story of personal development. There's no smoking gun and there's no magic pill that's going to fix everything. There's always going to be a deeper lesson and a deeper experience. And if you didn't learn that lesson, you're going to learn it again. So what does that look like? What does that feel like? How does that seem? So can you allow yourself to be in a space of allowing, knowing when you're having that negative thought, that self-deprecating thought, that victimization, the self-pity? How can you allow yourself to honor that feeling? Okay, I know I'm having this thought. This is how I'm feeling. Allow yourself to breathe through it. Take a couple breaths and let it the fuck go. I'm choosing to let this go. This thought no longer serves me or my highest good. It no longer serves me or my highest good. And when you get angry and you're not in this blissful space, it's simple. You acknowledge it. You acknowledge the feeling. You own it. I'm having this feeling. It's no longer serving me. I'm choosing the different route. I'm choosing to let it the fuck go. Sometimes that's the most graceful way you can be. There's no beating the shit out of it. It's just, okay, I'm letting it go. And if you need to sit with it for a few minutes, then sit with it for a few minutes, and that's okay. Sit with that feeling. Honor the fact that you're feeling like shit. Honor the fact that you're feeling constricted. You're feeling non-expansive. You're feeling angry. You're feeling frustrated. You are feeling emotion. You are feeling human emotion, which so many people don't know how to handle. You are allowing yourself to experience the feeling. I have 6 years sober. And before that, I didn't want to feel. I didn't want to feel feelings. I didn't know how to handle emotion. Sit down, close your eyes, and be with your breath. Put on some music that doesn't have any words, some ambient music, and allow yourself to just feel what's going on. Feet forward. Yeah. Just be in that space. When you notice you're doing it, let's do the deeper work. Let's do meditations. Let's open the conversation, because this is just as much part of self-love as anything else is honoring your feelings and honoring the experience. It doesn't have to be this super regal experience, but we all have the ability to honor an experience, whether it's positive or negative. I love you all. Have a great day.